You've probably heard a lot about Bitcoin lately, whether it's on the news, online, or because your weird mate Steve keeps banging on about how much his is worth. There's a lot of noise and information, and it can be hard to know where to begin. Coin Corner cuts through all the confusion with an easy-to-use site and a friendly customer support team on hand to help. Coin Corner is a quick and easy way to buy Bitcoin in the UK. Visit coincorner.com and enter code FILMBTC at sign up for some free sats or small amounts of Bitcoin to get you started. coincorner.com.
The Podfix Network.
Hello and welcome to episode 219 of the Filmmakers Podcast. This is a podcast where we talk
filmmaking,
from indie film to studio films and
everything in between.
How to get them made, how to make them, and how to try not to
F them up in our very own humble opinion.
Yay! Oh, welcome everyone to this fantastic, I'm going to say fantastic podcast. Shut up, you idiot. Welcome everyone to this absolutely delightful episode with the really cool Frédéric Thoraval, the Oscar-nominated and BAFTA-nominated editor of Promising Young Woman. I am Giles Alderson. I'm a writer, director and a producer. And joining me as my co-host today is the producer, Lucinda Rhodes Thakar. Hello.
Hi Giles, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm very good indeed.
It makes me happy listening to the intro. Makes me really
Does
happy.
it?
I love your enthusiasm. You do a wonderful job, my dear friend.
Thank you, I think. It's a delight to have you co-hosting today. I think the last one you did with us was...
Matthew Modine.
Was it Matthew Modine, the last one? My gosh, and what a good one that one was. If you do want to listen, great segue there. Then do go to filmmakerspodcast.com, type in Matthew Modine's name, and it will pop up. There are some amazing other podcasts as well. If you want just screenwriting, just type screenwriting. If you just want editing, type that. Speaking of editing, Lucinda, we have on
Frédéric Thoraval.
How amazing. What can our listeners expect to learn from this episode?
Well, the very lovely and charming Frédéric spoke about how he felt when he was nominated for his Oscars and his BAFTAs. That was very exciting to hear. Mm-hmm. He also spoke about working with the lovely Emerald Fennell on his latest movie, Promising Young Woman, and why you should involve your editors at a very early stage.
He also talks about the difference between editing horrors, thrillers, and more comedy-based films as well. He also talks about why you should have many screenings along the way during your editing process, and why the editor is like being a midwife. All of that to come for you amazing people. Thank you so much for listening. And thank you so much for listening for the last couple of episodes. We've had amazing guests on. Last week we had Guy Pigden, who wrote, directed, produced and starred and managed to distribute his amazing film Older. The week before that we had Liza Marshall talking all about TV producing, including The Fantastic Temple starring Mark Strong, who's also on episode 19, by the way. So, Lucinda, how are you? Are you all right?
I'm good. I'm deep in post for Confession and Code of Silence, which we shot during Lockdown 2 and Lockdown 3. So deep in post and in pre-production for two new very exciting films, which we can announce soon. Whoop!
Very soon we will be announcing that, and it's great because we've done so much prep and so much work to get to this stage. It's really nice when suddenly they're all moving forward. You never know with these things, they could all just disappear and not happen, but hence why we don't mention them too often. But we are working very hard, I know this to the grindstone, to make shit happen, right?
You know what they say, Giles.
Go on.
If you're not on set day one at 6 a.m. in the morning with a vegan bacon sandwich, then
yes,
the film's not going ahead.
That's correct. If you're not there fully with a vegan bacon sandwich, the film is not going ahead. That's fact, because I won't let it go ahead unless everyone has one. But it's great that, you know, you're in post on your two films. I'm in post on mine now, The Stranger in Our Bed as well. And we are, like I say, it's so cool. Final bits of ADR now being done. The grade has been done. The colour correction's been done. Now it's just putting it all together. Isn't it the exciting time? You know, when the poster gets designed and it's cool. You have a movie, another one. How many is it now in the last, 5 years, Lucinda, you've smashed out?
16, I think, to date. 16.
It's incredible. And so inspiring for those people listening. You can do it too. You can. Do be inspired, because you can do it. And don't think that we've done some now, it's easier for us. No, it's not. It's just as hard every time, right?
Every movie gets harder and harder. Because your expectations of the audiences are higher as well. So each film you have to strive to be better and better. And sometimes they're not always better as the last one. But in your gut and your brain and the teams that you bring around you, you are trying to make that happen.
Underlying inspiration for you there. And remember, if you do like this, tell your pals. That's how we grow. And if you really want to be more involved, then join us on our Patreon. There is so many offers on there. Come say hi. Patreon.com/The Filmmakers Podcast. Link is in the show notes. And on Thursdays, as always, join myself, Lucinda, and a whole host of guests and honorary Filmmakers Podcast members as we dive into filmmaking on Clubhouse. Come ask some questions. Come say hi. We will see you there. Link to that again should be in the show notes. I say should, because I might have forgotten to put it in the last few weeks. Look, Frédéric is amazing. We're going to get to him now. He first worked as an assistant editor on some Luc Besson movies, including Taxi 3, before editing District 13, which was directed by Pierre Morell. He went on to work with him many times, also on the Luc Besson directed Angel A. Other amazing credits include Taken, the fantastic Liam Neeson movie, which he does go into, and it's really nice to hear as well. Also from Paris with Love, A Lullaby for Pie, The Assault, Safe, starring Jason Statham, this brilliant action film, Dead Man Down, The Gunman, Lady Blood Fight, Unforgettable, the frighteningly scary Sinister for Blumhouse, Peppermint, OG, and obviously Promising Young Woman, which was written and directed by Emerald Fennell and recently won the Oscar for Best Original Screenplay. Frédéric, our lovely Frédéric, was nominated for a BAFTA and an Oscar for his editing on Promising Young Woman, which does star the fabulous Carey Mulligan. It is available now on Sky Movies. Do go watch. It will blow your mind. This is bright, fresh, wild revenge thriller with bite. Go watch. You will not be disappointed. He's a delight. He was so much fun to chat to, wasn't he, Lucinda?
Oh, he was wonderful. To listen about his process and the way he goes about things and his interaction with the rest of the HODs and also the post team was wonderful. He really is truly inspiring.
So here we go. Let's get to it. Our episode with the fantastic Frédéric Thoraval. Enjoy. Hello.
I'm very, very sorry, and thank you so much for having a talk on a Sunday during a 3-day weekend. All my apologies to both of you, to the three of you.
All right.
We really wanted to talk to you, so we were like, well, this is worth it on a Sunday, so thank you. So how are you? Whereabouts are you in the world at the moment?
I am in LA at home, because I'm living here for 10 years.
You've lived in LA for 10 years? Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yes.
So that means you must have moved over after you edited Taken, and around the Sinister time?
Just before, for Safe.
Oh, for Safe.
I came here for Safe. It's Boaz Yakin called me for Safe.
Nice.
And that made the move, actually. That made me make the move.
I mean, it's a good reason to move, isn't it? A nice Jason Statham film. It was the Jason Statham Safe, right?
Actually, yes, exactly. But it was a Boaz is very interesting for that. He has a very unusual take. I like to work. It's funny. I like to work with people with unusual takes on things, and Boaz has actually an interesting take on action. He never has done action, and that's why Safe was so interesting. In terms of action, actually, I don't know if you've seen it, but if you did, there's a long oneer at one point, very actiony, but he wanted it to be like inside with the character, which was very unusual at the time. And funnily enough, the guy who did the second unit director at the time for the action stuff it was Chad Stahelski.
Yes. He's gone on to be a big director now himself, hasn't he? Yes.
It's funny. Safe was very interesting for the way, because he was not an action director, Boaz had a different take on it. He wanted to try things more in the perspective of the main character. So, and putting the audience in its perspective. So when you have that long runner in Safe, for example, it's completely storytelling, and you start with dialogue outside and the fight starts, and you go inside the car, you stick with the character, and you have that action from inside the car, and you start a chase from inside the car, and you do everything with the main character, and you feel the same emotions and stuff. And it was really, I think, a concept he had in mind at the time. That was very interesting. And I mean, what I like with those kind of directors is they try things that you didn't see before, and or at least try to do it in a different way. And that's what Emerald has done as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Promising Young Woman is an absolutely brilliant film. I mean, you can see why it's done so well. Yeah. Yeah. We're going to dive so much into that, but maybe we could just talk about first what's just happened, being Oscar nominated, being BAFTA nominated, and how that felt for you first, and then we can get into your career, and then we'll really dive into Promising Young Woman. How did that feel? That must have been a roller coaster.
Oh, that actually, it's funny because I'm using a lot emotional roller coaster to describe what the movie is, but at the same time, it's exactly what happened to me on that movie. I was completely in an emotional roller coaster because of everything that happened. I mean, I was never expecting nominations like this, and it was a fantastic moment, and what a pleasure and what a fireworks to finish the experience on that movie after 2 years, actually, because we did it before COVID and everything. And it was it's funny because that movie started on a very good sign. It was very positive, very since day one, we had a very good time on that movie, and it ended like it started. And the nominations were, I mean, an amazing experience, an amazing recognition from the other editors, from the people, from the work, industry, and it's huge for me. Especially, I'm living in Los Angeles for 10 years now. I did some choices at the time, and in a way, it's kind of giving me the approval that I did the good choice 10 years ago. And feeling like I'm part of that community of editors here, and I'm very, very proud of that and very honored of that. But I say here, but the same with the BAFTA. I mean, it was the first nomination. It was a very emotional first nomination, I must say.
Yeah.
And it was it's great to have been able to cut the outstanding British movie of the year. It's very exciting.
And you should be ridiculously proud. It was you should be, right, Lucinda? I mean, you recently watched it as well.
We love it when people, try and be really, really humble about, obviously being nominated, winning awards. And I think, this is your moment, and shout it as loud and be as ego, if you like, as you can, because it's a wonderful achievement. It seems like the entire team on that movie were brilliant. I was watching some interviews with the director, but also the DP, the production designer, and the costume and makeup team, and it looked like you were all on such the same page. I know that Emerald had sent the soundtrack that she had wanted some of the team to listen to, and they kept referring to it on these interviews, and it was wonderful to hear all the different departments. And I think what an achievement that you individually have made on this journey in this movie, and well done.
Yay!
Thank you.
Yay! We love picking up people on the Filmmakers podcast. We really do, actually.
We really do, yeah. And actually, myself and Lucinda, because you probably couldn't go to the BAFTAs this year, but myself and Lucinda have been to the BAFTAs. Lucinda's face now.
This is a story, Fred.
Yeah,
honestly, this is a story and a half.
Yeah, we were nominated. I say we weren't. We were in a show back in the day, years and years ago, that was nominated for a BAFTA. A craft BAFTA. And it's our claim to fame. We always talk about it when we have BAFTA nominees on, as if we're in any way their league. And I love dropping it in like it means something.
As if we're in the same gang.
Yeah, exactly, we're in the same group. But it was still amazing. We're amazing to be there, but it's nothing compared to yours.
No.
So, but I do like to have fun.
But it was just on my couch at 7:30 a.m. in smoking. So I mean, in tuxedo. Yes. So it was kind of weird.
Yeah, it must have been. Yeah, you're sitting in your tux at home and on your couch going, why am I here?
I would have loved to be at the Royal Albert Hall in UK.
Yeah, of course. It would have been that feeling. You have to do another one now where you get nominated next year so you can, get invited to the Royal Albert Hall.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly. That's the aim.
That is the aim. And I'm sure you will as well. The incredible editor, and congratulations.
Fingers crossed.
When you're in the edit for a film like this, are you editing on a big screen? Are you looking at it that way? How does it help you visualize thinking about how this is going to look on a big screen? How do you plan that as an editor, if you like?
First, I think we can only imagine, and that's why it's important to have screenings all along the process to see it in different ways. And actually, what you say about the experience of theaters is very important, and I can't agree more, because a lot of time I'm hearing like, oh, it's good to go to the theater to see that big action movie or VFX movie, but at the end of the day, when you have a very intimate movie, that helps you to connect even more with a movie, and to accept things that you maybe won't accept at home, because you will have the phone ringing, because you will have the dog barking, the kids coming, and all that. And it's important to be in that kind of not church, but in a way that kind of cocoon to enjoy that moment. And we do everything we can so you have the best experience, sound-wise, picture-wise. And what I'm doing during the process, first I have a setup that I'm not using a HD monitor like you sometimes have. I don't know if people know, but when we are working, most of the time we have two monitor displays and one HD monitor. And I don't like that kind of setup, because I like to be in the picture I'm cutting. So my setup is I have two display monitors in front of me, a bit lower, and I have in the back my main monitor, which is most of the time a 65-inch, right? Where I've got the sound. I'm working with not only stereo, but I like to have three speakers, so I have the dialogue in the middle, like you will have in the theater.
Okay.
And I'm really focusing on that monitor, and the sound coming from it. So I'm trying to be as involved as possible but I've drowned in the picture. Yeah. I'm really like, this is the main thing. The rest is just technical stuff, and I don't want to see it really. It's helpful, it's necessary, but what is important for me is what I'm seeing on screen. And actually I'm trying to have the director in between me and the monitor, so we have the same experience. We see the same thing. So that's the first thing. And along the way, I'm trying to see the movie in different places. We do screenings in screening room. Most of the time, the posters we are working in have a screening room, which is not a big theater, but at least you can sit on a big screen. You can feel it differently. Mm-hmm. And another thing that I'm doing that is very important for me is I count those days because with COVID, I'm working from home, but most of the time I'm trying to take the movie at home and watch it in a different room,
a different environment.
Yes, to feel it differently. So it doesn't help for the feeling of seeing it bigger, but it helps to feel it in a different environment where you don't have you won't think the same way. You won't have, when I'm in the cutting room, I will think, oh, that cut, that music, that level, that when I'm at home, I don't see it the same way. So I'm trying to do that regularly. That's
really interesting. That just literally happened to me. I'm doing the color correction right now on a feature film, and I was watching it it was fantastic because it was the first time I've been really to a cinema since, over a year, back when I was in LA a year ago. And I've seen it on the big screen. I was in it and I went, look, would it be all right if we went next door to the smaller, little room where it's lighter, it's like this, it's not all dark. And can we watch it there just to make sure it's not too dark for me? Is that all right? And I'd watched it on this much smaller, like a TV screen, like a 50, 60 inch screen or whatever it was. And it made me see it totally differently. And it was a wonderful experience. So I'm so glad you said that, because we can get bogged down in just watching something in the same thing, and it changes your experience when you might even just watch it with someone else, or you watch it in a different room. And I love that you said that. And it's so important to keep your mind thinking, and that you take it home every night. That's incredible. That's really fascinating.
So that's a good thing. That's something that I do that regularly during the process. So it gives me a kind of distance on the movie. But the main thing is to come back to the big room, to see it on a big screen, to experience it with people. One of the things, though, that I found very interesting with that unfortunate time we're in is that when the movie was released here, and very quickly it was on VOD and things like that. And
in America, you mean? Yes.
In America, yes. And what was great is to see that a lot of young people were on those, can I say words, that the names like Discord, they were on Discord, and they were like experiencing the movie together. And it was very interesting for me to discover that even if we were all alone in our different places, they were experiencing an exchange on that movie. And an exchange that continued after, but it was already great to see it, their reaction during the movie. No, oh, wow. And I had the feeling of what was happening in the screening room when we were at the premiere, feeling the same in a different way, but at least there was that feeling. So I think it's important to have that exchange. It's a movie that raise questions, that raise reactions, and I hope that people can have in any means possible that exchange.
It evokes the emotions that you want to share as well in that situation.
Yes, exactly.
It's a conversation, a debate, and everything, isn't it?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, there's no question. It's a conversation starter. Promising Young Woman is not one you go out where if you watched it at home or hopefully in a cinema that you just go, cool, should we go get pizza? No. This is one where you debate and you discuss this, because it does have that feeling. It'll rile you up. It'll make you feel a certain way. But that's great. That's what films should be about, right? Making people feel something. And
I agree so much. Yes. Yes, and that's so important, and that's what I found. Emerald is brilliant at a lot of level, but she managed to create that and to have a movie that makes you feel all the. I don't know if you say that in English. The spectrum of the emotions.
Yeah.
So you go through all the emotions. You go through a lot of thematics that are very important to talk about. And what I loved during the process is that regularly we had a few screenings and people were watching the movie. had a first reaction, and the next day or the day after, you received an email saying, "Oh, I was thinking about this and that," and it's something that stays. It's not.
Yes.
What I hate is when I'm going out of a movie and I take back my normal life and it's past, and it was good.
Yeah, and you'll forget about it in a week, or someone's going to say, and you go, yeah, what happened? Oh, yeah, that. Whereas there's no way. It lingers with you. How did you feel when you first got the script then for Promising Young Woman?
I don't know exactly how they received it, but the script arrived through my agent, so I don't know if they tried to have it for me, if it came from. I was probably on the list, it's how it's happening most of the time. And I was super lucky to receive that script. Like you were saying, Lucinda, with all the like all the head of departments, I received the script, but there was a mood board linked to it, very clear, very detailed, very precise, showing the universe she wanted to visually put on screen, and a playlist referring to all the songs that she had in the script. And actually, a lot of them are in the movie at the end. So she had a very clear path already. And I started the script, and this is the kind of script that you can't, when you started, you can't stop reading it. You have to go until the last page. And it was very exciting. I remember clearly after that, I called my agent. I said, I need to work on that movie. There was something very, very strong with it. And I had the chance to have a meeting with Emerald, which actually, it wasn't really a meeting, a job interview. It was a meeting with a person. It was a chat. It was a talk. And it was I can't remember what we talked about. I just remember how easy it was to talk with her. And I mean, at the end of the interview, she told me that I was in, and
Amazing.
That was and a month later, I was starting the cut where they were starting to shoot. And I think Emerald did something quite amazing, is to bring together a team that was excited by the movie. And I think that you can see that on screen, and everybody that put his soul in that movie and trying to listen to what she wanted to do and how to help her to put that on screen. And that was very, very exciting. That's something that I'm using too much exciting with that movie, but because it's true, it's really true.
Yeah.
Every single department was bringing something so important to the story. You talked about the production design. It's wonderful what they've put together with the ideas of Emerald. The light of Ben, Kraken, the way they felt very neon and pop, and but the hair and makeup, how it helps, and the costume, how it helps the character of Cassie, and of course the amazing performance of Carey Mulligan. That was such a pleasure to cut every day in the cutting room, along Bo and all the fantastic cast that was put together. But I mean, Carey, it was such a delight. No, I mean, every time I'm remembering the cutting room, the dailies arriving in the cutting room, and it was a fantastic feeling of having that character on screen from day one, from the first minute she was acting. It was there, and it was the same with Bo, with Alison Brie, with everybody. It's very. There was something actually very, very strong and positive during the shoot of that movie, and that stayed along the way. And there's the stars were aligned. Really, there was something very, very positive.
when you first get a project like this and you sit there with the rushes, how does it work for you? Is someone assembling it for you, or are you getting everything raw?
No.
Okay, talk us through your process as editor.
For me, it's really important to watch everything. And the first impression is I'm working a lot with my guts. I'm working a lot with what I feel, with emotions. And that's what is important for me, is to filter all the dailies through the filter of the script, of course, but the filter of the emotions too. And I try to not have a preconceived idea of what the sequence needs to be. I try to see what was shot and what is the moment the magic moment that will be in the movie at the end of the day, for sure. And sometimes I see that this one, and maybe it's not what you can expect, or the type of shots, the type of size you are expecting to be at that time in the sequence, but it is the moment where it's true, where it's there, and you need to have that one. So I sometimes will build all the sequence around that moment, even if it's not what you can expect, because it is what is the most important emotion-wise. So what I'm doing is I'm watching all the dailies, and when I say all the dailies, it's every picture, even when it's not in the action stuff. It's before, it's after. In every movies I've cut, there's some pieces that are coming from moments before, from moments after the cut, before action, after the cut, because there's those moments sometimes where something is happening, and you want to use those pieces because it's important to they bring something. As long as it brings something to the story, that's what is important. And so I'm doing a big selection. I'm organizing that selection, and from that I'm working a bit like it's a funnel, and I have all that amount of footage, and slowly, and I filter to arrive to a first version. And what is important for me is to try to understand, and that's what is difficult the first weeks when you work with a director you've never worked with, is to try to see what they want to tell, where they want to go, how they want to do that. Because there's something that is very important to never forget, is that we are there to help a director to bring his vision on screen. This is not my vision. This is Emerald's vision in that case. And my work is to try to use all my past experience, my culture, my history, my reactions to channel the energies to bring the movie together and see how she's reacting to things. Does she like that? Are we going in the good direction? Maybe we don't. Maybe I'm cutting it in a way she wasn't expecting it. And it's not bad. On the contrary, it's good to trigger reactions.
Yes.
It's good to see that, oh, she didn't like that, but she liked this. And by having her saying, oh, but if we did that, maybe we can do this. And so you have a kind of ping pong starting. And from a scene that had a first direction, you go in another one. But at the end of the day, the main idea is there, and it's just getting better. So that exchange is very important for me, and I love to have the time of the shoot, because on one hand it's very stressful.
Yes,
because you have calls every day, like asking, okay, do we have everything? Can we change location? Can we undress all the location? Can we move on? And sometimes it's very stressful, especially on a movie like that was like shot in 23 days, and with so little prep. I think they had 3 weeks of prep.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
No, it was
That
insane.
surprises me.
No. It's really plus
I heard
the
about
director
the
that was
23.
So 23 shoot, 3 weeks prep, and Emerald was pregnant.
She was heavily pregnant.
7.5 months.
My gosh!
So it's really something.
It's really something, and you're on set that whole time from the off.
I'm not on set. I'm close.
You're close by, so
in LA.
can.
So
right,
I'm in my cutting room, but every day I receive the dailies. Every day we are looking at all that, but. The great thing is when I'm in the process of the dailies, I can try things. It's a kind of playground for me, and I can go. I sometimes I'm taking risks. What is very important it's to do it when you feel you can go for it, because the shoot and the editing is a very fragile moment for the director, and you need to feel how can he accept this, can he, or it's not a good moment, and then you start to do something and you keep it for later. Same for some cuts of lines or stuff like that. I'm trying to show for the first cut everything. I'm not cutting something, but I can try to go wide on music, because I like to cut something and I like to temp music, and maybe trying that type of score that is not at all appropriate for that moment, but that brings something. And again, it's just to try to trigger reactions. Does that make sense for you?
Yeah, totally. Sorry, guys. Robbie's calling me. Sorry, I had a question for him earlier, and I know he's busy, so I really need him to answer. Hang tight a sec. Sit there awkwardly while I answer this. Hey, Robbie.
Giles, we're just about to shoot this one-of-a-kind scene before this historic bridge them filming gets demolished forever. But I've called you because I knew you wanted to hear back from me. What was it?
Yeah, it's really important. When you were a kid and you were in preschool or kindergarten and you used to dance to a song that went knees bent, arms stretched, rah, rah, rah.
Okay, right. Giles, this bridge is going to get demolished very soon. You need to film it.
Can you name it for me?
Okay. Hokey Cokey?
That's it. Oh my God, I used to be addicted to the Hokey Cokey.
Really?
Yeah, but I've turned myself around now.
Oh, no. Oh, God, no.
You know what else has turned around, Robbie?
No. What?
Bitcoin. Flying it is. It's currently in the bull market, meaning there is a lot of optimism around Bitcoin right now, which is reflected in the price. The price of Bitcoin is up more than 750% in a year.
You were doing a joke segue again.
Yes.
Weren't you?
Yes. And just before you go and shoot the bridge that's probably fallen down now, a quick and easy way to buy Bitcoin in the UK?
Okay, you're going to tell me, aren't you? Come on.
Coin Corner, Robbie! Sign up with Coin Corner now and use the voucher code FILMBTC to get your Bitcoin journey started with some free sats. Link is in the show notes. Cheers for that, Robbie.
That's okay. The bridge is now got. We've missed the opportunity.
Oh, never mind, Robbie. It was obviously a bridge too far. Gotta go. Hey guys, sorry about that. Where were we?
So we were talking about the shoot period being 23 days and obviously the prep being 3 weeks, which is, Giles and I work really, really quickly on a lot of our movies. We work together as producer and director as well, and producers. And, we think 2 months is tight. We sometimes do it on 4 to 6, but 3 weeks is mental. And our shoot time is 18 to 25 days on average, and then our post probably 5 to 7 months. So I wanted to ask, looking at such the short time frame you had for pre and the shoot, what was the post time frame like for you and the rest of the team?
It was kind of normal, actually. They actually we didn't rush it. It's good to have the time to go through the process. Rushing it wouldn't have been good for that movie, and that was one of the great thing with the support of the producers we had, is that they've never tried to cut on that, and I think it makes the difference. Good, because it's a movie that the structure was there. There's no major, structure changes when you take the end of the movie, you put it at the beginning or things like that. It's a movie that was extremely well written. There's a balance that you can't completely change, because you discover one scene after the other, new characters, new elements of the story. The story is unfolding slowly, where in those kind of revenge movies, if we take the revenge side, you start usually by a trauma, and you grab the audience at the time, and you follow the vengeance. In this case, it's completely different. You don't know anything. You just discover that character, and you discover scene after scene what she's doing, and slowly you understand what the past story is, and so you can't change the structure drastically, because it's like a castle of cards,
House of Cards.
House of Cards.
And I love the show, actually. I should remember it. No, yeah, it's a house of cards, and if you remove one, everything is collapsing. So we worked on specific things to make at the beginning clearer the tally marks and what she was doing at night and things like that. And along the way, we did some adjustments in the structure, but it's not the kind of movie where you change everything. And on the contrary, you have a very tight path, and you have to find the way to stay in that path, but keeping people involved. And that's how it was very important to have Carrie's performance, because she was, in a way, our North Pole star. She was the one we needed to connect with from the very beginning, and to stay connected with during all the movie, because you were talking about roller coaster, and it's an emotional roller coaster. You are sitting in a wagon at the beginning, and everything is moving, and if you don't have that connection, it can derail very quickly. But when you are with her, you stay with her, and you can take every turn and twist that Emerald had put in the story. And I think I completely went far off the main question.
No,
it's sorry.
No, it's totally
That's fine.
Yeah. Well, let's. How did you get started in this? And we'll come back to Promising Young Woman in a moment. But it's interesting there. You're talking about and you've learned to do that, and you've learned to say, look, that I want to make sure that, especially in Promising Young Woman, that Carey Mulligan's character we did empathise with her throughout this. But you've learned that along the way. You've learned how to edit, and your first job, was pretty much on a Luc Besson movie, from what I can tell. I'm sure you did lots of other stuff before that, but the first sort of credit that I can see for you was a Luc Besson movie. How did you jump into that? How did you even, we want to get to Promising Young Woman? It'd be really interesting to know what your journey was.
Actually, I had a very unusual journey. I'm coming from a little city in Brittany with parents in the army and in the Navy, and you don't. I didn't have any connection with the movie, except the experience I had when I was a kid going to the theater and having that emotion each time, and that feeling of what the movies were bringing me. So I was at one point in a military school. I decided to go in a Navy high school, and I started to meet with guys who were doing their compulsory military service. And they were in the audiovisual service. And I've discovered at that time all the possibilities that editing was bringing to a story. And how can I say that? When I was very young, I was 11-ish. I was going every summer on a little island in Brittany spending my summer in the booth of a theater with the owner of the place that just was doing the projection, and I was spending my summer with him. Like there's a kind of cinema paradiso kind of thing.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's the fantasy of that and the magic of watching that and someone do that must have been incredible.
It was amazing. And I remember the change of reels and having the intermission, and it was a local, very family place. And there's something in me that needs to connect with that. And I started to decide to go that way. I did a small school of cinema, but we were not. It was not a school of actually cinema. We were more prepared to be like TV editors, and I was very lucky to meet someone that in that school that made me start in commercial after that as an intern, and I grew up like seeing all those big editors like cutting, like there was Hervé Schneider from Amélie Poulain and all the Genet movies. There was Sylvie Landra who worked with Luc Besson on The Professional, The Fifth Element, and watching them cutting commercials and starting to see how it was interesting to tell stories. And one day I was called by Marco Cave, who was a commercial editor mostly, that was cutting Kiss of the Dragon at Besson's. And and I came in my first day. I think he never knew, but I've never cut any comedy and feature
didn't know
before.
He didn't know this.
He didn't know that.
You're pretending. I know what I'm doing.
No, it's just he didn't ask, so I didn't have to pretend. And what was great is that day, I remember how it was. I felt in place. Everybody was telling me, "Oh, you will be stressed out, but it will be fine." But that day, I arrived. I had the beautiful CinemaScope dailies from Thierry Arbogast with Jet Li and Bridget Fonda, and that was just a fantastic feeling. And that was the beginning of my process of editing. And what was great is to learn all the time. And it's been 25 years I'm learning every day, and that's what is exciting for me. And trying to use the elements I can grab here and there from my history, from my culture, from the different genre I've worked on, from the different directors. I learned tremendous things with Luc in the cutting room. I've learned so much with Pierre Morell about how to do this type of scenes or that type of scene. I've learned so much with Emerald Fennell when I was doing ADR with her and see her working with actors. And you learn from every movies.
Yeah. Oh, wow. What a great journey. District 13, as it's called, certainly in the UK and possibly America, was the first movie I'd seen that you'd cut, and I loved that movie. I think it's so cool and fascinating. And, then that's obviously with Pierre Morell, and then you got to do Taken. Now, did you know that Taken was going to be like at the time, like really huge movie? Did you have any inkling, or was it kind of, I'm just doing the same job, I'm just hoping to cut this well?
I think it was mostly that. It was mostly trying to do the best we could, like what we've done before on the other movies with Pierre. But it was mostly having the chance of working with amazing actors like Liam Neeson. And actually, it's funny because I had exactly the same feeling when I worked with Mark Rylance or Carey Mulligan. It's like you have in UK the most impressive actors in the world.
We've managed to get away with this somehow. I know we have. I totally agree. But I feel every country has, because we're British, we kind of go, but we love this. Of course. Makes us feel great. Yeah, we do. We just go, yes, we do.
No. I mean, I had a chance to work with actors from all over the world. But the thing is, and I love working with American actors, Australian actors. The thing is, what I love with Liam, for example, is that he was so precise in every take, and it's like Carrie, it was just adjusting from take to take. It was really amazing. But so we had that chance. It was exciting. We were cutting that, and when we at the movie, we had the feeling that yes, there's something that is working, and it was a great feeling. But I wouldn't have imagined that it would be such a big success, especially in US. And I was in France at the time, and I didn't see. I've heard that it was doing well, but it was far, and I didn't know. But it was, and since I arrived in US, I have had such incredible reactions. Like one of the first time I was I was in Toronto. It was just a year after that, and I was cutting a small indie movie, very nice movie. That was a co-production, and we were at the lab, and they invited us for dinner, and we go in that restaurant at 5:30. It's way too early. Whatever.
So different French.
And 5:30. And suddenly, and we're talking, blah blah blah. And they asked me, "Oh, and what did you do recently?" "Oh, last year I cut that movie called Taken. I don't know if you've seen it." And all the table froze. The heads turned to me, and "You worked on Taken?" I was like, "Oh, yes." "What did you do on it?" "I've done the cut. What the editing? Did I?" And they were just, "That's amazing!" And that's such a good movie. And I was like so surprised, because we've never had that in France that big. And it helped me tremendously to have Boaz Yakin calling me for Safe.
For Safe,
yeah.
And your career from that, it just kept going. But that's fascinating, isn't it? How you were just working, you were going, yeah, it's a great movie, really happy with it. But then for it to blow up as it did, and take Liam Neeson at the time to become one of the biggest action stars around with a spawn of sequels, incredible. And then you also worked on Sinister as well with, Jason Blum. What's the difference, I suppose, to cutting, the difference between an action, like Safe or like Taken, and then a horror like Sinister, and then Promising Young Woman? Is there a difference for you? Are you thinking about that when you're in the cutting room?
No.
The tone? No. Okay.
No, and no.
The process is the same.
It's exactly the same. And that's something that I'm saying the more I can, is that when you cut a scene, you have this. You have stakes to deal with. You have finding the best performance, being on the good angles at the good moment, and telling a story. Whatever it is, it can be horror, it can be action, it can be drama, it can be comedy. It's the same. What is important is to try to tell the story the best way possible, and again, convey the vision of the director. That's what is important. What is important in the story at that point? And with action, for example, I started with action, but I was not an action person. I was not watching specially action movies, but sure. I was just telling the story that I was that was
in front of you. Yeah,
exactly. And that's, I think, something that is very important, is to not forget that. And I remember I have a very good friend who was at the time more of an indie movie editor, and one day she had that movie where there was some action, and she was like very stressed out because she had never cut action, and I told her, do it exactly like you are cutting a dialogue scene. And she looked at me like, are you crazy? And I told her, no, do exactly the same, and try to leave the action scene the way you would leave the dialogue scene, and she got it, and she did a beautiful action scene, and she's doing more and more. It's important to feel connected with the material, to listen to the movie, to see what the movie tells you, whatever the movie is. And that's something that is crucial for me. We are kind of midwives as editor. You need to listen to the movie. We are there for 9 months to help the director to give birth to that movie, and I'm very connected with them. I'm during the premiere at Sundance. I was sick. I was feeling sick. I was so anxious to see how the movie, the reaction would be. It's part of me. I put a lot of me in the movie. So I think it's important to listen to the movie, to listen to the director, to see where they want to go. And a movie, if it doesn't like what you're doing, it rejects it. And you can feel it's organic. There's an organic connection with the movie, and it tells you where you need to go. And I think we have to listen to it, whatever action or whatever type of movie it is. And it's very important for me and I've never wanted to be locked in with one label on my forehead. I'm trying all the time to do different things, because that's how you are learning. That's I've done only one movie, or horror movie, which is Sinister. I did just one, but it's great to be able to take from that and use it in different movies, in different sequences, even if it's not linked. But the way you deal with the time, for example, I learned with Scott to stay on long shot, even if nothing is happening, because you create an expectation and you make it deflate, and boom, you have the surprise. And that you can use in any kind of movies. It's just storytelling is an element. And I think it's very important to not forget that. And yeah, it's just, let's be open to every type of movies.
Are you able to put the film down and let the movie go when it hits a deadline? The producers, the execs have said, look, this movie needs to be finished. Are you okay to let it go, or are you an artist that goes back and goes, what about that? Or is there a day where you go, I'm done. I'm at peace with my work.
I think it's something that I've heard here that makes me laugh, but is kind of real. I've heard an editor saying here that we are not done with a movie. They take it out of our hands. So I think we are never done with a movie. There's always, yes, at one point we are, but it takes time. And I'm never happy. There's always something that bugs me, and an ADR line that I hear, a VFX that bugs me. There's always something in the story that maybe we could do this different. But at one point, you need to stop. And that's, and I remember, actually, it was in the UK. I was in London mixing a movie, and we were with a brilliant sound mixer. And each time we were recording a reel, it was like, okay, so we are recording for eternity. Right. For eternity. And it was, yes, it's when it's done, it's done. And that's, in a way, what I don't like with the shoot, and what I love with editing, is to arrive to that point of, we lock it for sure. It takes a while, and you can work and rework and adjust and readjust and try something different. A shoot is a bulldozer that is going, it starts at the beginning of the day and just stops at the end of the day. You don't have a chance to pause, redo. No, it goes. And editing is not like that. Editing is, you stop and go, you go back, and it's back and forth. And that's what is exciting. You can, if you you can cut a movie forever. And that's what actually Orson Welles was like that.
Yes, with his last film, he never came out because he was cutting it forever and kept redoing it. Yeah.
But that's...
I love the bulldozer analysis. I'm going to use that. I'm going to quote you, Frédéric, if that's all right, on set.
Yeah.
Today's a bulldozer.
That Pierre told me that one day, because I was not... sometimes there's an incomprehension between post and shoot, because we are... It's like we are in two different dimensions. We don't have the same ways of dealing with things, and sometimes it creates some incomprehension, tensions sometimes, and I was asking, but why you don't do that? He told me, but the thing is, you start and you can't stop it. You never can until the end of the day, and when it's done, it's done. So the way of thinking is different, and that's why I'm an editor. I think mostly because I can do and redo and re-redo all the time.
What would help you as an editor from a director standpoint, like a director coming to you and also a producer coming to you? It could be any part of the process here that maybe you could give some advice on that you would help an editor, that sometimes you go, I wish they'd thought of that. I wish they'd told me that, or to help editors, so that basically we can help our directors and producers listening to help improve speaking to editors.
I think it's good to have the editors involved earlier to give a different take on a script, to be involved in the process. The numbers of times where you can tell that there's an idea that will probably be not able to end up in the movie because there's some structural issues, and you can't bring it up because nobody asked you. And I think it's important to have that talk before. The editor has his place in the pre-production, but not only story-wise, but even technically wise, because all what is happening on set will have an impact, a huge impact on post. And sometimes doing that economy on set of, I don't know, $100 can be a tsunami of money after that in post.
Yes.
Because you are stuck.
Yeah.
Where now we have amazing tools. You can shoot like that shot. I'm not sure about it. Let's shoot it 4K. Just doing that. Just by doing that, you can zoom it a lot, and you can save a lot for the editing, because you give more options on a place where it might be a bit tricky. There's a lot of things where you can, I think an editor can bring some expertise. And again, for me, the movie is an organic element. So you need to let it live, and he needs to do his own mistakes too. Communication triggers things, and having the editor involved can trigger some questions and raise some questions and trigger some solutions ahead that you wouldn't have, and you would have to fix it in post, the famous one.
Yep.
And so I think it's very important to have that communication, and to take the editor out of the cutting room and involve him in the prep, and having him for sure in table reads, for sure in all the having that kind of big meeting with all the head of departments that is more and more disappears because the prep is shrinking so drastically.
That's fascinating, and I totally agree with that. I love having editors come on as early as possible, but it's just either something we don't think about as much, or you go, well, it's fine, it's their time, or we might have to pay them more and all that, and it ekes into the budget when people go, well, I'd rather put that budget somewhere else. But it's very little money considering what it saves you in the long run. So I love that, and I love to have an editor in the rehearsal room or whatever. Why not? I can already see how you're going to do it. And you go, okay, well, look, make sure you get that shot then, and make sure you get a hand reaction here. Whatever it is, you might see that really early on.
And even I think it's important to, for example, if it's a heavy dialogue movie, it can be good for the editor to have the feel of the flow, to have the feel of how the movie will be, where the director wants to be, to hear. One day, I would love to have a wired mic that I would be the only one to listen of the notes of the directors between takes, because it would give me some direction on what was in his mind or her mind at that point. What was the idea between that change? Sometimes you have things happening and you don't know, was it coming from the director, the actor? Was it coming by mistake? You know what I mean?
I do, it's totally.
And it would be fantastic.
Well, actually, interestingly, on the Dare, I didn't cut some of the time, and I'd go in and give a note because they were so important, heavy scenes. I didn't want everyone rushing in and doing makeup and blood and all that kind of stuff. And the actor was in the moment. So I'd rush in and give notes. And actually, at that point, was Ollie, our editor, said that I knew what you wanted then. I knew why you went in for another take because I could hear you saying it to the actor.
Yes.
So I totally agree. And that was just by mistake because I kept the take running. But imagine if you could hear all that. You could hear what the director was saying, the actor was saying, and why he wanted a certain or she wanted a certain different version. And then you go, that connects now. I'll take that take or I'll take that reason. It's great. It's not a bad idea.
But it is, because you can have some stuff that could be terrible to hear. But no, it's mostly to...
The editor can hear you.
We haven't spoken too much about your interaction with the producers or even the executive producer, one of them, Margot Robbie, during the post-production stage. Did they get involved much, or was it just yourself and Emerald and the post team?
They were very supportive, and they helped us to make the movie go in the good direction, but keeping always in mind that it was Emerald's movie, and they were not fighting against that. So it was more finding some solutions to make things happen. So, for example, the brilliant idea to have Sue Jacobs involved in the process to find a way to have the great songs in the movie, and finding a way to have a lot of the songs that Emerald wanted to have in the movie that were crucial for the story. That you can't have that movie without the Toxic, the Paris Hilton, the Wagner cue. I think all those songs and musics were extremely important for the story. So it was great to have Sue involved, so she could find some solutions to how, with that small budget, can we have those songs, and that's where the producers were really helpful to find solutions, and it's great. I mean, it was great to have them, and we were very. I think the movie that is on screen is very close to what Emerald wanted to have.
Which is incredible. And Promising Young Woman is fantastic. It is on Sky Movies now. Do go see it. Your work on it, Fred, is just brilliant. You know, the way you balance genre and tone, and the differences between when it's sort of going much darker and then it's lighter, and you just go on this, like, it's a roller coaster, as we discussed right at the beginning. And honestly, you've done an incredible job, and you thoroughly deserve your Oscar nomination and your BAFTA one as well. But we've all had a BAFTA, so, you know, it's not as big as the
you big time so over there, Giles Alderson.
I'm not meaning that, by the way. It is incredible, honestly. Well done. This has been brilliant. This has been so good to talk to you. Honestly, it's been great. Really great.
Thank you very much for your time and your Sunday. Sorry.
No problem at all. We love it. We love it. Is there anywhere people can follow you? Are you on the social medias at all, on Twitter, on Insta, that people can say well done?
I have an Instagram that is very very small. There's not a lot on it, which is Fred Thor and the 4 letters of my first name and last name.
Fred Thor, all right. And you can follow the podcast at FilmmakersPod. You can follow me at Giles Alderson. Lucinda?
You can follow me at PickPerf Movies and at Lucinda R. Thakar.
Sit there uncomfortably while I wrap this up. You can go out there and make your indie film. You can go out there and make an Oscar-winning film such as Promising Young Woman. You really can believe in your project, believe in yourself, and go for it. And if you're lucky enough to rise up and do well, just as Frédéric has done, it is your duty to send the elevator back down. We will see you next Tuesday, as always. Fred, thank you so much for your time. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you so much to you. Now I will follow you for sure.
Amazing. Thanks, everyone. Take care, and we will see you next Tuesday.
Thanks, Fred.
Speak to you very soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.